Aaron lived in a quiet village surrounded by vast fields and towering mountains. Among all the landscapes, one mountain stood out, Mount Riden. Its peak was covered with snow even during the summer, and whenever the wind blew, the mountain produced a deep, mysterious echo that people referred to as the Whisper of the Sky. The villagers had countless stories about Mount Riden. Some said it was cursed, others believed it was home to ancient spirits. Children grew up listening to these tales, and fear became a natural part of how everyone viewed the mountain. But for Aaron, fear wasn't the problem. The problem was that every time he looked at the mountain, he felt a strange pull, a feeling that he belonged somewhere near its peak, even though he had never attempted to climb anything in his life. Aaron was a simple boy who worked at the village bakery. He woke up before sunrise, baked bread for the villagers, and returned home tired every day. His life was safe, predictable, and quiet, but something inside him whispered that he was meant for more than repeating the same day forever, a new beginning. One morning, while delivering bread, Aaron overheard two travelers speaking excitedly about Mount Riden. It is said that if you reach the summit, one traveler said with sparkling eyes, you will see the world beyond your imagination. The world, Aaron repeated under his breath. He had never left the village. He had never seen the sea, the cities, or the stars without the giant mountain blocking his view. That night, he lay awake thinking about the traveler's words. What would the world look like from the peak? How far could he see? What would it feel like to stand above the clouds? Fear whispered, what if you fall? What if you fail? What if everyone laughs at you? But a different voice whispered louder, what if you succeed? The next morning, Aaron made a decision. He was going to climb Mount Riden. Step 1, facing doubts. When he told the villagers his plan, everyone laughed. You? Climb Riden? You're just a baker. You've never even climbed a hill. Even the bakery owner looked disappointed. Aaron, why risk your life? Stay here. It's safe. You have everything you need. Aaron wanted to argue, but deep inside, he knew they were right. He was inexperienced. He was scared, but staying in his comfort zone felt like slowly suffocating. He packed a small bag, some bread, water, a rope, and a notebook. When he stepped out of the village gate, fear clenched his heart, but he kept walking. The Forest of Echoes. The base of Mount Riden started with a dense forest known as the Forest of Echoes. People claim that anyone who entered it lost their way because the echoes confused them. As Aaron entered, he heard the strange sounds, whispers bouncing back and forth. At times they sounded like warnings, at times like encouragement. The forest was dark, but shafts of sunlight peeked through the leaves. Every crunch of dried leaves under his feet echoed like someone walking behind him. Every rustle made his heart race, but he reminded himself fear is natural. Several times he thought of going back. What if this is a mistake? What if I never make it beyond the forest? But with every step he realized something powerful. Although fear walked beside him, it did not stop him. He was still moving forward. Hours later, he reached a clearing. Birds flew in circles above him, and the sky looked brighter. He had crossed the forest. For the first time in his life, he felt proud of himself. The cliff of trials, the next part of the climb, was steep and dangerous. Aaron felt the weight of fear again as he looked at the cliff rising high above him. His palms grew sweaty. His legs trembled. What if I slip? What if I can't do it? But then he saw something carved on a rock. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the strength to move forward despite it. He touched the words. It felt like someone had left a message for him. A reminder that even those who climbed before experienced fear. With trembling hands, he gripped the rope and began to climb. Every few steps, his foot slipped. His breath grew heavy. His muscles screamed. He scraped his knee, cut his hand, and nearly lost his footing twice, but he didn't stop. Halfway up, he paused. Wind swept past him, carrying the mountain's deep echo, and for the first time, instead of sounding frightening, it sounded like applause. He continued climbing until he finally pulled himself over the top edge. He collapsed on the ground, laughing and crying at the same time. He had done something he once believed was impossible, the meeting with Kale. As evening approached, Aaron found a small hut. He knocked on the wooden door, unsure who lived there. An older man with silver hair and sharp eyes opened it. Lost? The old man asked. No, climbing, Aaron said, still catching his breath. The man studied him silently, then smiled. Come in, you look like you could use food. Inside, the hut was simple yet warm. The man introduced himself as Kale, a former mountaineer who had spent years exploring mountains around the world. So why climb Riden? Kale asked while serving soup. Aaron hesitated before answering, because I want to grow. I want to know who I am beyond fear. Kale's smile widened. Good answer. Most people fear this mountain not because of the danger, but because of the truth it reveals. The truth. Aaron asked. Mountains don't test your strength, Kale replied. They test your courage, patience, and heart. You learn who you are when faced with fear. Aaron felt those words sink deep into his soul. The storm of doubt. The next morning, clouds covered the sky. Kale warned Aaron, a storm is coming. If you continue, you must be prepared for the hardest part. I'm ready, Aaron said, though his heart beat faster. As he climbed higher, the wind became harsh. Rain lashed down. The path turned slippery. Visibility dropped. The world around him blurred into gray. Lightning cracked the sky, illuminating the dangerous path for a split second each time. His fear returned stronger than ever. What if I die here? What if this is the end? His mind screamed for him to turn back, but something in his heart whispered, you made it this far, don't stop now. He wrapped his arms around a rock and waited for the worst of the storm to pass. Hours felt like days. His body shivered, but his spirit stayed firm. When the storm finally weakened, Aaron pushed forward. He realized something incredible. He had survived the storm. He could survive his fears. The final steps. Now the peak was close. The air grew thin, and every breath felt heavy. But the sight of the summit filled him with energy. Just a few more steps. His legs felt like stone. His fingers were numb, but he continued climbing, slowly, steadily. At last, he pulled himself up the final ledge, and then he froze. The entire world stretched beneath him. Endless forests, rivers, valleys, and villages. The sky glowed golden as the sun dipped toward the horizon. Clouds floated below him like oceans of soft white. Aaron's eyes filled with tears. He had never seen anything so beautiful. He stood there, breathless, letting the wind embrace him. The fear, the doubts, the pain, it had all led to this moment. For the first time, he felt truly alive, a new Aaron. When Aaron returned to the village days later, everyone was shocked. He looked different, stronger, braver, and filled with a quiet confidence. What did you see up there? The villagers asked. Aaron smiled and replied, I saw the world and I saw myself. From that day on, Aaron wasn't just a baker. He became the village's symbol of courage, proof that anyone, even someone ordinary, could achieve the extraordinary if they pushed beyond fear. He helped others face their own challenges. He shared stories of the mountain, the storm, and the moments when he almost gave up but didn't. People no longer laughed at dreams. They followed them, because Aaron had shown them that fear was natural, but growth happened only when you stepped beyond your comfort zone. Conclusion: Aaron's journey up Mount Ryden wasn't just a physical climb. It was a battle against fear, doubt, and limitations. He learned that fear does not disappear. Courage is choosing to move forward anyway. The greatest view comes after the hardest climb. When you leave your comfort zone, you discover who you truly are. And so Aaron's story became a legend, a reminder that fear may whisper, but your heart can roar louder.